Correct. Online. Yeah. So good evening, students. How is the test? Tell me. You lack in content. Okay. You written all the answers. 2 case studies you have left. Case studies. In this test I am saying. This test, today's test. Almost write all the questions. Good, good. So if you are watching online, you can comment what is your status of writing. How was the paper today? So let's get started. This is the first session of ethics answer writing workshop. So what we will be focusing here is what exactly matters in ethics preparation. I have told earlier also, if you take the overall ethics preparation, you can divide it into 3 different levels. If you have watched, we have engaged in face-to-face discussion, or you have seen any previous if you have seen any last videos, you might have already understood the concept. 3 levels you have to work. First thing is on conceptual understanding of the subject. You have to read some books, you have to read XYZ material or do foundation courses so that you have a clear understanding of the syllabus. What do you mean by clear understanding? Basically, everything that is given in the syllabus, you should have a basic idea. What exactly is integrity? What exactly is ethics in private relation, public relation? What exactly is accountability, probity, what it is? So basic understanding of the whole syllabus that you should build first. If you haven't done this part, go and buy some standard books. Lexicon is by far still one of the best books available in the market. Or you can use other books also. But thing is, for every syllabus part, you should have a fair understanding. Second part comes the answer writing. Why even after studying the concept, why answer writing is quite important? Give me some answer, why? To reflect demand, presentation, ये सब matter करता है. But the core aspect is, at the end of the day, in ethics, how much words you can write for an answer? 150 words for 10 marker questions, section A questions, 250 words for case studies or section B questions. So comparing to whatever you have learned and whatever you have to reproduce in the 7 minutes, this is very less. How much in-depth knowledge you build, how much is the content ability you have built. At the end of the day, you are left with only 7 minutes for one question, only 150 words or 2 sides of the pages for one question. Now, how to utilize this to the best of your abilities, how to utilize this to the best of your advantage, how to get the best out of this. There you have to work. Here you have to work in different aspects. Even whatever conceptual knowledge you have learned, you have to learn it in such a way that it reflects how you are going to write in the answer. If you have not made this adaptation, then there will be overburdening of content. You may be studying something which you cannot reflect in the paper. At the end of the day, you are judged for only what you have written in the paper, not what kind of a person you are or what you have XYZ learned, from where you have learned. Everything becomes secondary. Secondly, what all things we focus on? Basic aspects of answer writing. Never miss the demand of the question. Every time I am seeing. So like, why I am saying this? Because I have seen so many students do this mistake even after writing the mains. If you are missing out on the demand of the question, at the end of the day, you are not going to get the marks. Every question has an objective demand. What exactly should be written in that? The direction of the answer should be exactly replicated in your paper. There should not be any changes, any compromise in this section. Then what? Then most important aspect is to generate diverse ethical arguments. You can give a quality diverse ethical arguments. This brings you the marks. Many of the students, even after doing courses, even after doing material, doesn't know how to generate arguments in the ethics paper. it becomes little tricky when question is tough in ethics paper, because there is huge level of subjectivity compared to other papers like GS3 economy or GS2 polity or history. You have some level of objectivity in the question, some level of objectivity in the what exactly will be demand of the question. But in ethics, many a times we see a question where interpretation can vary, see a question where there is risk if student is not well aware of lot many dimensions, how to generate these dimensions in the ethics. Now how we do this? To resolve this is the whole program, whole workshop program about. We study different types of frameworks, approaches, so that you can, the process of diverse, making diverse points or arguments in the answer becomes easy. Next part of answer writing is value addition. What is value addition all about? This is all not just applicable for ethics, it's equally applicable for other GS papers also. What exactly do you mean by value addition? For every subject, there are some aspects which carry marks. It's not possible for everyone to remember everything at every point of time. So just for the exam, sake of the exam, just for getting that extra marks, you study something, you shortlist something and just study that for the exam and replicate in the paper and forget it. That kind of material is value addition material. In ethics, more weightage is towards examples. But you should understand, this is the crux of your understanding, your answer. It shows your depth of understanding of the subject. It is only to substantiate these arguments we use value addition points, example, data, everything. If your approach is reverse, like you are focusing fully on value addition, you are focusing too much on examples, then you are making a mistake. Even in market, you will find so much of material which everything is focusing on examples. At the end of the day, if you don't know how to make arguments, your ethics preparation is always handicapped. Now, once you did this also, the third level is full length test. When you sit for the exam, it becomes a totally different challenge. You have to 3 hours you have to write 6 case studies, you have to write 13 section A questions. It becomes a challenge in itself. Sometimes you may not be able to manage time well. Sometimes whatever quality you have thought here, you may not be able to replicating it. Whatever value addition you have studied, you may not be able to remember it during the exam. Whatever frameworks we are learning, you may not be able to reproduce this. All these kind of new kind of issues came up when you are writing exam in a time bound manner. So to optimize your output, you need some practice in these also. So these are 3 levels of ethics preparation, and our whole workshop program focus is on building arguments, understanding demand of the question. Answer writing is the major focus of this whole workshops. Okay, and on that note, we will start our lecture. Yeah, so understanding what to look for in these lectures, what matters in ethics answer writing, that is what exactly I told right now. Understanding the demand of the question. Never make a mistake in this. Even if your answer, you don't know the content, still for the sake of filling pages, you might write half page answer, 1 page answer. Even in that answer, or you are running out of the time, completely running out of the time, last 3-4 minutes you are writing one answer. Even in that emergency situation, you should not write something out of the demand of the question. Your answer should be exactly what is asked. What is regarding the question, that you should reflect in your paper. Now, breaking down answer into subparts, space allocation, all this. I already told, whatever you have learned, you have only 2 pages to fill. If there are 3 questions within one question, you have to allocate fairly enough so that every part is not compromised. Don't give overweightage to any sections. Similarly, generating ethical arguments by applying frameworks, I already told. Example substantiating for the arguments. That is the use of examples. That is the point of value addition points. So I hope you got a fair idea what the workshop is all about. Now we will go through today's first question. So let's discuss the first question. Let's read the question once. Apart from intellectual competency and moral qualities, empathy and compassion are some of the other vital attributes that facilitate the civil servants to be more competent in tackling crucial issues or taking critical decisions. They have a quite long statement. Explain with suitable illustrations. So what this quotation or what the statement is all about? Okay. Okay. So tell me, this is the 2 pages, 2 page space you have. How you are going to utilize the, what are different parts you can write for this question? Identify what all parts you can split this question. Our thumb rule is for a 10 marker question, answer should have at least 10 points. Now what should be your outlook to generate 10 points? If your answer is having only one heading or one part, generating 10 points is Herculean task. It's not possible, it's not feasible to generate quality points with arguments under one heading. Maybe 4-5 points you can generate quality, 2-3 points you can generate with some lesser quality points without example substantiation. So our objective to make these 10 points should be to split the arguments, split the questions, arrange, make different parts out of it. So how much parts you can see here? What the quotation is saying, there are competency, intellectual competency, moral qualities. Beyond that, you need empathy and compassion also for addressing crucial issues or important issues of civil servants ka baat kar rahe hain. So major part of your answer should be importance of empathy and compassion. More than 60%, 70% of your answer should be why empathy and compassion is relevant to whom? Relevant to civil servants. To add little bit variety to the answer, what you can add? You can add a way forward, but it should be limited. Don't make 7 points in the way forward, 3 or 4 points enough. Then a conclusion, introduction. 1 point here, 1 point here, 2 point here, 5, 7 point here. That should be the perfect structure of your answer. In some question, like empathy and compassion are very much synonymous words. So you don't need to go into splitting these two terms. But in some questions, there will be opportunity to split on that regard also. In that question, you can write about importance of empathy to civil servants, importance of compassion to civil servants. On both these regard, how you are going to handle. So you understood the demand of the question correctly? You have done correctly? ठीक है. ठीक है. So introduction, you start with defining empathy, compassion. Then you write something about intellectual competency and moral qualities. Then you go to the importance of empathy and compassion. Very good. So basically, what is empathy? Understanding emotions, understanding feelings or pain or other sufferings of other people. That is basically empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings of other person, experiencing their emotions from their perspective. This standard definitions is what I call as conceptual understanding. It is not required you need to learn some, you need to take some dictionary and learn XYZ exact definitions. But the overall idea should not be compromised. What is compassion? Deep feeling of sympathy, concern for suffering, well-being of others. This is something related to sympathy or compassion, empathy. But in compassion, we go one step ahead, accompanied by desire to alleviate their pain and distress. You are more focused on doing something for the others also. Third, intellectual competencies. What intellectual competencies should a civil servant want? Domain knowledge, communication skills, analytical skills, people handling skills. Lot many skills a civil servant. Moral qualities, integrity, accountability, honesty, responsibility. All these civil servant values, foundational values of civil services, which you study in the syllabus. Everything is required for a civil servant. Now this is the whole basic understanding you need. आपको किधर भी पढ़ो, इसके ऊपर आप knowledge बनाएगा. Now answer में क्या लिखना है, that is totally dependent on us. This is the modulations which you need to make. Now answer writing for whatever framework we are discussing, it is not like we are discussing for this particular question. Our objective is, if you look at the PYQs, there is lot many questions on civil servants, on the perspective of civil servants, what qualities civil servant require, or what is the importance of integrity for civil servants, what is the importance of accountability, or any other value, XYZ foundational value for civil servants. In 2024 also you had a question like this. Probity, importance of probity for social development and good governance, something connected this. Even a question on social capital was there. Social capital, and it is connected with good governance. So many questions, major part of your question you will be getting somewhere related to civil servants, somewhere related to governance. So what kind of framework, thought process you can apply in these kind of questions? You applied any thought process? Vijay Durga, how empathy and compassion is more important than attitude and other moral qualities. Good. Cognitive, correct. Feel, understand, help, compassion. Good. Very good, excellent. Yeah. I'm asking you not exactly this question. How we are going to perceive any question in UPSC ethics related to civil servants. I already told, like bunch of our syllabus, only the first part is about ethical theories, ethicals in human life. And last part of your syllabus is applied ethics, international relations, corporate governance, work ethics, and all of this. Bulk of our middle part of our syllabus is regarding what? Civil servants or governance or public administration part. So all this part you will get many questions on civil servants. Now what you can do in these kind of questions? Let's see what approach we are going to use here. So in this question, introduction, you can write introduction in n different ways. Either you can write contextualize the introduction. Contextualizing, see here we have a long statement given in the question. So you understand the meaning of the statement and write again. Whenever you are contextualizing, try to give one examples. One of the classic examples is Swachh Bharat Mission. Swachh Bharat Mission, what is the importance of empathy and compassion in Swachh Bharat Mission? Even if we speak about the success of the Swachh Bharat Mission, overall governance in India, it is not that we don't have laws. It is not that we don't have policies. There is overburden of laws and policies in India. Still things were not working. 60% of the India was not having access to clean toilets before launching of this mission. Now this mission already achieved the 100% rate. So that is a substantial progress in last 10 years, you can say. Now what made this a success? What is the role of empathy and compassion in the success of this mission? At least one argument you can make on this regard. Tell me. Understanding necessity of the people. In rural areas, you need different strategies. In urban areas, it is more focus is on infrastructure development. If infrastructure is there, people will use it. But in rural areas, you need to teach people. You need to make the habits. You need to break the customs. Everything need different kind of communication. Understanding the problems of tribal communities, understanding the problems of women. So all these other aspects beyond building the fund or building the infrastructure has to be taken care of. It is because the administration to some extent were able to take these aspects into consideration. That's why contributed to the success of Swachh Bharat Mission. You can speak about customized strategies, community outreach programs by different civil servants, behavioral change approaches. So at least one arguments you give, one example you give. That's all, behavioral change and nudging. Very good, excellent. Yeah, these are the approaches you should give at least one example, then give strategic importance of empathy and compassion or whatever we are discussing in this. Whenever you are giving contextualized introduction, try to give one example. Otherwise, if you are not able to contextualize this, you can go with definition also. You can start with defining empathy, or you can start giving a definition of compassion also. Now, whenever you are doing definition, always keep only one thing in mind. You don't need to have Shashi Tharoor English or exact replication of words that is given by World Bank, UNICEF, or any other organization. But your direction of definition should be absolutely correct. There should not be any mistake in it. When you are defining integrity, what is integrity? Integrity you need to study in different aspects. Even if you look at the PYQs closely, integrity is that one topic where question has been coming from different dimensions. Sometimes the question come out importance of integrity in personal life. Personal life integrity is quite important. Now sometimes question comes on integrity in public administration or governance, public governance you can speak, or government or civil servant you can speak. Sometimes integrity there is question also on applied ethics part. Applied ethics part means corporate governance or international relations or some other part of it, business ethics or health ethics or bioethics. All these kind of different part of applied ethics, also integrity has a meaning. So the meaning of integrity has different applications. Now you need to have different definitions for each of these depending on the context. In personal life, what kind of definitions you can give? There is a Gandhi's quote on integrity. Integrity is when what you think, what you speak and what you do are on in line. So that is the meaning of integrity. At the end of the day, integrity means your thought process is in line with the organizational thought process. That becomes the meaning of integrity in corporate governance. In public administration, if you uphold moral principles that is required for good public administration, that becomes integrity. So when you are giving definition, you should modulate it according to the demands of the question. Now we have seen the standard definition of empathy, but if you are doing starting this answer with empathy, definition of empathy, what you should keep in mind? We are not talking simply about empathy, we are talking about empathy in the life of civil servant. So give a definition in that regard. Empathy refers to ability of public servants to understand and relate to the needs, feelings and concerns of the citizens they serve, enabling them to make better informed decisions and provide more efficient and compassionate service. Understood the nuances? Keep this in mind for everything, whatever you are learning. Walk the talk, C.S. Lewis. Very good, correct. Said doing right thing when no one is watching. Exactly right. Like that is also another definition of integrity. Very good, Vijay Durga. Like thing is you should contextualize it. In this question it is about corporate government, it is about civil servant. So write the definition according to the civil servant. Don't write personal definition of integrity in an applied ethics question. Understood? Let's go ahead, let's go beyond introduction. Now in the body of the answer, what you can do? This is a standard framework you can apply liberally for any question on civil servant. You take last 10, 11 years PYQs. You take last 2023 answers, question paper. Take any question of the civil servants regarding civil servant values or governance question or something like this. Any question you can apply this framework, and if you apply this framework, how much points you have to generate in one heading? Maximum 6 points, 7 points you have too much. At least 2 headings you have in the question, 6 points, 12 points, more than 10 points is there in your answer. Now what this framework is about? Whenever the question is on civil servants, think on the perspective of what all a civil servant is doing. What all a civil servant is doing? Most important function, follow the law, follow the constitution, follow the code of conduct which he should be expected to follow. Civil Servant Rules Act 1964. Whatever is legal responsibilities of the civil servant, that is something uncompromisable. First and foremost responsibility, follow the law. Second, in policy front, what is the responsibility of a civil servant? Policy formulation, policy implementation, policy review, policy advisory role. Sometimes you have to give advice on implementation aspects of this policy. So all these policy aspects also is coming under the ambit of civil servant. Then people management. He has to deal with n number of people. People means who all include. Civil servant is working in an office. He has to handle that office management. He has to take decision that increase productivity within the office. He has to take decision if there is conflict within the office. Most of the offices will have their own unions, their own formal and informal unions. And there can be conflict between this politically motivated conflict, other kind of conflict. Role of civil servant what is? To ensure that the basic functions of the office is or organization is not be compromised due to this. Similarly, he has to answer to the political executive. He has to answer to the authorities above him. Political, it can be political, it can be non-political also. Other higher level bureaucrats or politicians it can be. So thirdly, he has to handle the most important stakeholder who? People. It can be common man, it can be people with authority, influence in the state, something religious leaders or community leaders or some political party leaders. So all these people are also coming under, at some point of the level, they have to handle all of these people. This is also under the responsibilities of civil servant. Financial responsibilities, allocating fund to the, what are the financial responsibilities of civil servant? Financial responsibilities of civil servant? Three aspects come into picture very clearly. One thing is, for any policy implementation, it is to be done to the permanent executive or bureaucracy. So bureaucracy, every fund is flowing through bureaucracy, that responsibility is there. But many a times, why the role of ethics come into picture? Many a times, how the policies should be implemented, which policies should be given priority, which fund allocation should be, many of the time there will be, they can make decision on where to allot the fund. So which is the most priority in the district? Is giving more fund to education a priority, or is giving more fund to healthcare a priority? All these decisions has to be taken by the civil servant. So that there comes the importance of financial responsibility. Now leadership, inspiring positive changes, whistleblowing, in exposing corruption, all this also comes under certain responsibilities of the civil servant. Then miscellaneous topics like environmental, if you are relating to that specific matters, or international relations or security concerns of the nation. All this sometimes, at times when Naxalism is handling, then security aspects comes into picture, like specific to the context, you get other functions also for the civil servant. So how many points we have? 6-7 points. This is all you need to generate 5-7 points, very quality points on responsibilities or framework to based on any question regarding civil servants. Now how to apply this in this question? How to have importance of empathy and compassion along with these qualities for a civil servant. Importance of empathy in law and regulation क्या हो सकता है? Give me one example. Law formulation for vulnerable sections, law formulation for transgender policy. All this, there is role for civil servant. So there is role for empathy and compassion. For policies, at least make 2-3 points. In policy formulation, what is the role? People first attitude should be shown. And you can only show people first attitude if you have enough empathy and compassion. Weaker sections, marginalized communities, different take marginalized communities. Handling law and order. Take this example, handling law and order. Like police has a lot of guns and whatever force they can use. Only if you have empathy and compassion, you can tackle the situation with minimum force. Tackle the situation so that people are not hurt due to that. Understanding. Take time to listen and understand concerned perspectives of all parties. Humanize those involved to prevent from being seen as solely criminals or suspects. Use non-lethal force. Instead of using gun, use some other water gun or other kind of policies. All those comes into picture only if you have empathy and compassion. If you don't have empathy and compassion, then shoot. All stakeholder involvement in policy formulation. That is, we have come to the generating point from the second part. Inclusive policy, participative governance, social audit, all these ideas comes into picture here. Okay, build trust, social audit, examples you can give in your answer. At least 2 points, that is all we need. Going ahead, then we are coming into people management, interaction with public. You might have seen some civil servants, if you remember some civil servants, who sit in the office till late hours, simply to just make sure that he is available for anyone who is coming to your office. You might have seen some other civil servants who has no time to listen to common man or no time to listen to the people. And what differentiates these two civil servants? Empathy and compassion, level of empathy and compassion. And this is not just applicable for civil servant also. Even in our life, in your own life circle, you can see some people make certain choices because they have certain level of empathy and compassion. Some people volunteer to give food to the homeless people. Some people volunteer to protect environmental activities. Why they are doing so? Because they have certain qualities of empathy and compassion. So interaction with the political executive, in all these aspects you can generate 2-3 points. I mean, we are not too much focusing on content part. Our focus is on the argument, how to build argument. So in taxation, in resource allocation also, how we have this progressive taxation system. Why it is progressive? Because we don't need that much of tax burden on the poor people. We need in allocation of resources to the states. Why there is a criteria of per capita income of the state? That is also a way of showing empathy and compassion. Those states who have lower per capita income should get more assistance from the collective pool of resources. Humanitarian concerns in penalties, understand factors like ability to pay, real needs, hardship faced, etc. You might have seen some judge in US or something. His videos are famous into YouTube. Forgot his name. He when these people have this challan for violating traffic rules, many of the people who come before him, he will cancel the challan. Somebody may be a woman who don't have a home. Somebody may be taking somebody to hospitals. So they have violated the law. What the judge is doing? Giving a humanitarian aspect to it. Considering the local situation, considering the particular situation. If that person is done this on a goodwill or able at least accepting the mistake he has done, then he is try to consider the humanitarian aspects of this. At least give few examples. Environmental aspects, international relations, at least one example if you can give. So give me an example of compassion in international relations. Recently the earthquake happened in Nepal. Turkey earthquake. Even though Turkey is not so much a friendly country with India, India was in the forefront in extending the humanitarian assistance to the country. You can see with the same with Sri Lanka. When Sri Lanka faced the 2022 financial crisis, even China was reluctant to go into it, but India was in the forefront of extending whatever help that was needed. So all these reflect some kind of empathy and sympathy. Sorry, empathy and compassion. So I hope you understand the framework very well. Now let's see one more framework you can apply to various civil servant questions. That is life cycle of a civil servant. What is life cycle of a civil servant? Starting from, you can start from preparing for UPSC exam also. Beyond that, that is including the recruitment process. Recruitment process, how can you include elements of empathy and compassion? Reservation system, EWS or physically handicapped reservation system. All these elements have some reflection of empathy and compassion. In training, if we are speaking here about second part of our body, that is way forward. How to inculcate empathy and compassion among civil servants. Sensitizing, you have include those elements like within empathy or emotional intelligence element in the curriculum or training curriculum of the civil servants. In probation, field visit hona chahiye. Ground level experiences, give more important significance to ground level experiences. In job tenure, rewards and recognition hona chahiye. If some civil servant is taking decision based on empathy and compassion, give him incentives, give him promotions, give that significance. In promotions, objective promotions hona chahiye. In retirement also, you can connect something with empathy and compassion. So at least 3-4 points in the way forward, that will suffice. And in many of the ethics answers, I'm saying this way for these committees or these words, replicate, write, note down in the paper. At least some of your answers should reflect these committees. Second ARC recommendations. If you have gone through the MIB material or gone through the workbook material that is part of this marks improvement booklet, compilation of all this recommendation is given. Simply have to bring this into your way forward in wherever question you have to write for forward. Second ARC committee, HOTA committee recommendation, Punchi commission recommendations and Niti Aayog recommendations. Bring at least 3-4 elements into it. Give cite these recommendations committees that will give enough quality to your answer. Understood the second framework? So 2 frameworks we have seen today. We'll see multitude of frameworks going ahead. So in conclusion, you can write always in conclusion, note only one thing. At least I don't want such kind of conclusion. If you take all above steps, everything will be very good. Civil servants will have empathy and compassion. Don't write such kind of a trivial conclusion. Try to include a specific point in the conclusion. In this, we have included the Savatha model. What is Savatha model? You don't need to go into particular aspects of it. This is not GS2 paper. The focus is on participative governance. Role of people in governance is being enhanced. And this participative governance is used as a tool to increase efficiency of public services. A reflection of this is social audit. What is social audit? Beneficiary will himself come and check whether the system is running or not. Manrega, if Manrega there is beneficiary, that beneficiary himself will be looking at the different provisions of these, or there will be some legal provision so that the beneficiary can look at least into the working of the system. So try to bring at least one quality point in your conclusion. That should be your overall approach to answer writing. So in the first question, what all we have learned? We have learned introduction, what all you can do. If you are doing contextualizing introduction, give one example. If you are giving definition type of introduction, make sure that you are adapting your definition to the needs of the question. Now in generating points, at least split the answer into 2 different parts so that your works of generating points become easy. Now in generating points, try to use at least one framework so that you can generate diverse ethical arguments into it. In conclusion, at least try to bring one quality point into it rather than writing a trivial conclusion. So these are all the takeaways from the first question. Go ahead. How you have written the answer? How much marks will you give to yourself? Is there 10 points? 7 points. ठीक है. ठीक है. Resettlement of slums without rehabilitation, need empathy. Very good example. Online student is commenting. Saurav Kumar IAS of Dantewada, lunch with collector program to listen. Okay, go ahead to second question. Yeah. Comparatively easy question, number of words is also less. Let's read the question. Explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. It's a very straightforward question. How you are going to split this question? Tell me.